She gave us the anthem of friendship with "You've Got a Friend." Her voice has been a source of comfort for millions, and her professionalism is the stuff of legend. But what if Carole King, the icon of warmth, had a secret list of musicians she just couldn't stand? That's the rumor, anyway. Online whispers and fan-made documentaries tell tales of creative clashes, cold wars, and outright disrespect. Today, we're investigating the 5 wildest stories out there to see if there's any truth behind the legends. For 6 decades, Carole King has been a pillar of authenticity in an industry often defined by ego. From writing timeless hits for others in the Brill Building to the staggering success of her solo masterpiece, Tapestry, King built a reputation on talent, grace, and kindness. She was seen as the reliable friend, the ultimate professional, the steady hand in a chaotic business. Her music spoke of love and connection, creating a persona as warm as her songs, but the music world is a pressure cooker. Behind the scenes, it can be a landscape of clashing personalities and creative battles. While King famously avoided public fights, a number of stories have surfaced over the years that suggest even she had a breaking point. These tales paint a picture of an artist pushed to her limit. But is that picture fact or fiction? Before we get into it, let's be crystal clear. The stories we're about to explore are just that, stories. Carole King herself has almost never spoken publicly about holding grudges, and her own memoir is known for being generous and kind to a fault. The accounts we're discussing are a mix of retrospective reports, insider whispers, and internet lore. They are not confessions from her book or quotes from verified interviews. This is an exploration of the mythology that has grown around a famously professional artist. We're piecing together a narrative from anecdotal evidence to understand the legends themselves. These stories, whether true or embellished, have taken on a life of their own, but it's important to separate them from the well-documented facts of King's career. The first rumor on our list doesn't start in a studio, but on a TV soundstage in the late 70s. The story goes that Carole King was trying to do her sound check, a process requiring focus and nuance to get her piano and vocals just right. Into this quiet space allegedly crashed Ted Nugent. The Motor City Madman was also on the bill, and as the legend claims, he decided to do his own soundcheck at the same time, turning his amps way up and shredding blistering guitar solos. The story continues that King politely asked him to stop so she could finish, but Nugent just laughed, mockingly calling her music for grandmas. The insult was a complete dismissal of her art and her audience. It's a powerful story of disrespect. But is it true? Despite the drama, there is no credible, verifiable evidence this encounter ever happened. It doesn't appear in reputable biographies, news archives from the time, or King's own extensive memoir. The zinger that supposedly followed where King allegedly called Nugent the musical equivalent of a chainsaw in a church is a fantastic line, but it appears to be a product of internet folklore rather than a documented quote. King's actual, documented history is one of quiet professionalism, not public sparring. In the 1970s, Carole King and Linda Ronstadt were 2 of music's most powerful women. One was the ultimate songwriter, the other the ultimate interpreter. You'd expect a bond of sisterhood, but a persistent rumor claims their relationship was a bitter rivalry. The story is set at a star-studded Malibu dinner party. As the legend goes, Ronstadt was allegedly dismissive of King's monumental success, with Tapestry suggesting it was more about luck and timing than genius. To have her life's work reduced to a fluke, especially by a peer, would have been a devastating blow. The story concludes that King never confronted Ronstadt, but a quiet animosity endured for years. It's a juicy piece of gossip, but the evidence just isn't there. There are no credible reports documenting this incident or any feud between them. In fact, Ronstadt recorded King's song, "Oh No Nye Baby" in 1993. More recently, in July 2025, King posted a warm public birthday message to Ronstadt on social media, calling her an icon and a friend, a gesture that seems unlikely if there were a decades-long freeze. This story seems to be another myth, likely born from the tendency to pit successful women against each other. This is perhaps the most shocking story on the list. It alleges a tense physical confrontation between Carole King and Bob Dylan at a social event in the 70s. According to this tale, Dylan began bluntly criticizing King's music to her face, calling it too soft. When King tried to walk away, Dylan allegedly grabbed her arm firmly, amending, "Don't walk away while I'm talking to you." The story claims a bystander intervened, but the incident left King shaken and caused her to sour on Dylan permanently. This account of physical intimidation is deeply disturbing, but it is also the least substantiated of all these rumors. Unlike some of the other stories, which are vaguely sourced to insider whispers, this one appears to have no paper trail in reputable sources at all. Interestingly, there is a documented incident involving the two, but it's completely different. In 1995, King fell and broke her arm after a concert with Dylan in Dublin. Early reports mistakenly claimed Dylan had accidentally pushed her, but King herself clarified what happened. She simply took a wrong turn in the dark and fell off the back of the stage. The more aggressive story seems to be a complete fabrication, possibly a distorted version of the real accident. By the late 70s, the polished California sound, largely defined by the Eagles, was at its peak. A rumored studio session between Carole King and Don Henley should have been a masterclass, but legend says it became a clash of artistic philosophies. The story goes that King pursued raw emotion, while Henley relentlessly pursued technical perfection. As he allegedly kept demanding more takes to clean up the sound, King grew frustrated, finally telling him he was sanding down the soul of the music. Henley's supposed reply was a cold, gendered dismissal. "You're just too sensitive." In this telling, King was so stunned and insulted that she quietly packed her things and walked out, refusing to work with him ever again. This is another dramatic story that pits heart against perfection. However, like the others, there is no credible documentation of this failed session or the supposed feud. There are no reliable sources quoting Henley's dismissive remark. In reality, King and Henley have shared a stage. In 2016, Henley was the opening act for King's massive headlining show at London's Hyde Park, a bill that would be highly unlikely for two artists engaged in a decades-long Cold War. The story seems to be a fictionalized account of two very different artistic styles, not a real-life event. Topping the list is a supposed clash of piano pop titans. In the early 80s, a dream duet between Carole King and Elton John was proposed. The story claims that when they sat down to rehearse, the dream became a nightmare of clashing egos. According to this legend, Elton dominated the session, constantly interrupting King, changing her chords, and dismissing her signature style as too American mellow. The final blow allegedly came when he quipped, "Darling, you've had your moment. Now, let me have mine." This devastating insult supposedly prompted King to walk out, killing the project and starting a chill between them so deep that their teams had to coordinate schedules at industry events to keep them apart. It's the ultimate tale of a diva showdown. But once again, it is unsubstantiated. There are no verified accounts of this rehearsal or the alleged fallout. While both artists are keyboard-playing giants, there's no evidence of a rivalry. In fact, both contributed vocals to albums by David Crosby in the mid-1970s, while Elton John's studio sessions with other artists have been described as volatile. There is nothing to connect him to this specific behavior with Carole King. This story appears to be another piece of music industry fan fiction. Carole King's music feels like a conversation with a friend. It's honest, empathetic, and real. That's probably why these legends of backstabbing and feuds are so popular. They promise to peel back the curtain and reveal a hidden, darker side, but when you look for the proof, it just isn't there. The stories of feuds with Ted Nugent, Linda Ronstadt, Bob Dylan, Don Henley, and Elton John appear to be nothing more than myths. What is documented is King's incredible career, her kindness, and her professionalism. Her actual history is one of collaboration, most famously with her dear friend James Taylor. These rumors don't diminish her legacy. They just make it clearer. They show the steel beneath the velvet, reminding us that the woman who taught everyone how to have a friend also built a career on unshakable grace and integrity. What do you think of these stories? Why do you think these kinds of myths get started in the music industry? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy getting to the truth behind music history, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives.